Hello and welcome to a book launch livecast here at Ignite Press. I am excited to bring to you. Did I tease that right? I teased it again. I am excited to bring to you Barbara Yokom and to talk about her new book. And quite frankly, if you are in a business or honestly a for-profit or not-for-profit organization, you are going to want this book so that you can learn about how to create crazy great culture in your organization. Before I bring her on, a little bit about Ignite Press. We specialize in helping people bring their messages to the world, especially if that message is there to help uplift a brand, a business, an organization, and share that message out with people. So if you have ever considered a book and you would like to talk with me, I would be happy to set aside a time to have a consultation with you. We talk about how you can leverage a book to build your organization. While we're on the topic of building organizations, I should bring on our wonderful author, Barbara Yokom, to talk about her book, Never Stop Starting: The No-Fail Formula for Creating Crazy Great Culture. Barbara, how are you today?
I'm doing great. It's launch day.
Launch day, crazy,
Yes.
right? Just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know that you have been hard at work, and I'm guessing that you probably have already started to receive messages from people, well-wishers. People are excited for you and your launch. So just want to congratulate you. I hear all the time that having a book is like giving birth to a baby. And I can't testify to the baby part, but I can testify to the book part. So congratulations for getting to this stage.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, for the benefit of everybody else, they don't know you like I know you. Would you do us a favor and share a bit about your background? But before I do that, I also want to tell people, if you're watching, feel free to say hi in the chat. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, and I will pass them along to Barbara as we go. So please do that. All right. So Barbara, tell us a bit about yourself, about your background, and then we're going to dive into Never Stop Starting.
Yeah, great. So I'm a mom of 3 and a pet mom of Augie, and I'm married to a great guy, Andy. And so basically, I have in the past built a performing arts school that was a successful business for 29 years, and I've consulted and helped many with their own businesses. And now I recently, in the last year, have founded the Never Stop Starting company. So I'm an entrepreneur, and I like helping people.
Fantastic. Tell us a bit about that. Tell us about the dance studio, because there's a pretty compelling story in there that people, I think, would love to hear.
Yeah, well, it did start as a dance studio, and then over the 29 years, I built it from the ground up, like, a dance studio to a dance, music, and theater school with 1,700 students and 68 employees, and we were grossing over 3 million a year in revenues. And so it was very successful, and I basically built it, or I started this when I was 23 years old. And when I started this business, I really just wanted to create a place where I wanted to go to work every day. And so that's how I established and brought people on. I brought people on that I wanted to work with, and I created ways for us to operate that were pretty unconventional, but proved to be very successful in a very transient business.
Okay, so you've written this great book, Never Stop Starting. And the first question that comes to my mind, and I remember this when we first had the title meeting, about, your book and trying to like, okay, what's the proper title, subtitle? Tell us why never stop starting, right? I know that's a question you've already received and you're going to keep getting it. Tell us why the title, Never Stop Starting.
Yeah, well, it became kind of a personal mantra of mine in my personal life. You know, my family has gone through, just like every family goes through, every business goes through lots of challenges, right? And I just found, and I used to be kind of pegged as like, you know, Miss Positive and this sort of thing, um, but really it was about, you know, my ability to kind of bounce back. And so I kind of started this, you know, never stop starting kind of uh, banter in my personal life. And then when my business closed in 2019, it was pretty devastating for me, and I really wanted to reflect back on, you know, wow, why was this such a great business, and why were we retaining employees, and why was it such an amazing, crazy, great place to work? And you know, I had to basically start again, right? And it became this reflecting back on years of journaling and like, okay, well, what's the common, you know, how did I build this business and how did it stop? And I realized that the same things that I built, that I started with this business, that built the business, kind of these unconventional sort of practices that we did and had, that I stopped doing them, and that in effect, you know, affected the health and life of the business. So the business did end up closing, and not quite the way I would want it to have closed. And so then, as I was processing this, you know, just processing what lessons did I learn and what was this all about, I just really found this tie that there were these things that we did to create this crazy great culture that was a little unheard of. And once again, I found myself, you know, kind of pulling up my bootstraps and like, okay, well, I've got to figure out the lessons learned. I have to start again. And so I, you know, that's how we came up with the title. It's a personal mantra as well.
Okay, so this is so interesting because we see this all the time where business startups innovate. They think about things differently because they're not stuck in the muck of that which was done before, right? They're not mired by tradition, let's say, but are looking for new ways to do things. And so they often will eclipse, at least for a time, those tried and true companies. So are you saying that early on there were things you guys were doing culturally within your organization that later on, as you became more established, you got larger, and of course sometimes it's harder to do some of these things when you've got 68 employees instead of 6, right? That became a challenge, and this is what you are helping people recapture, is that which you guys were able to do when you were newer, smaller, all of that?
Yes, for sure. But most importantly, yes, that definitely happens, and that definitely happened to me and our organization. But most importantly, it's like the things that we did that created this so unique environment that many of my friends who were, you know, had businesses of their own were kind of like, okay, well, that's wow. How do you get away with having that kind of relationship with your faculty and staff? How do you offer them, you know, unlimited paid time off? And let me just say, this was way before COVID and way before this was a thing. How do you, you know, how do you create? How do you have this culture? And it was about the relationships. And so yeah, yes, yes, and yes, yes, and Everett, yes, and
Yes. So unlimited PTO, I mean, that is
ah,
even now is a very controversial topic. And, you know, so, and you were implementing that some time ago?
for sure, yes. It's about creating relationships, and it's about leading, you know, really. And you know, you talk to many business owners yourself, you get so busy in the day to day, you feel like you don't really have time to have a relationship with the people that are on your team. And I mean, even, not just your leadership team, but, on the other levels of the organization and in bigger organizations. And it's a mistake, because these are, to me, people are first and foremost the greatest asset to your business. They are the reason why your business is growing. And yeah, so it's I personally do not believe in a personal and a professional life. I believe you live one whole life, and that you share both at work, and you should behave the same way in your whole life. And there shouldn't be professional behaviors and we do these things at work and these things in my personal life. I just don't believe that. And it has proven in my business to be greatly successful. And it's one thing that I regret that I stopped.
Well, I totally understand it, especially also as you get larger, it's harder to keep those relationships. You probably have to be more intentional about it. And then I also think of, as you get larger, you get more and more advice from legal counsel who's like, oh, don't do that. Oh, you can't do, no,
Right.
you can't do that. Right. And did you run into some of that?
Well, okay, so first of all, I'm married to an attorney, which is a total bonus, right? But I find it now with the clients that I'm working with. It's like, well, I talk in the book about, how to get, how to let go of toxic people, and how toxic people will kill your business. And so many of the clients that I work with right now are like, well, we can't let them go. Everyone's so afraid of being sued. And it's just like, okay, well, statistically, the likelihood of you being sued is pretty low. And I've actually done a little bit of research on that recently. There's just this great fear that you can't let someone go. So yeah, that's what I think on that one.
And you brought it up, if you don't mind, statistically, what did you find in regards to how
Well,
often?
I'm not done with that research, Everett.
Okay,
But
right.
but,
Stay
but
tuned. Next
actually,
book
it's
or on the website, right?
yes. Good answer.
Let me do this. Let me bring this up here and talk about your book. So, Never Stop Starting is available now on Amazon. You can pick up we've got a special Kindle price running for 99 cents, and that is today, maybe tomorrow if you're lucky, but you've got to get it now. And then also the paperback is online, and Amazon is running a discount on that in honor of the launch. So I would definitely recommend that you pick these up. And remember that this is a fantastic book to give anybody who is in any management role within an organization. They don't have to be CEO level to get lessons out of this book. Am I right, Barbara?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, we are the leaders of our own life, so we all we all have things to learn for sure.
Now, I did see a couple questions come in. I want to pass them along to you here. Malia asked, can you talk about some of the tricky traps you touch on in the book?
Yeah, so the term tricky trap I use is basically a thought that turns into behavior that basically stops you from reaching your goal. So, okay, let's talk about toxic employees. The tricky trap is fear. And so I have a formula that's written in the book around, how do you get out of the tricky trap, right? And so basically, we already know life is hard. That's one. Two, you acknowledge, oh, this is just a thought that is distracting me, that's trying to take me away from my goal. And then I suggest that you tap into your superpower, which is your spiritual side. Really tapping in to, however you tap in spiritually, whatever that might be, to really pause and look for that to kind of move you through this thought that is going to turn into destructive behavior. And I'm talking like destructive behavior, like scrolling too much on social media, or just the banter around how you cannot get rid of this toxic employee because perhaps they have the most clients, or it's just going to be hard work. It's going to be too taxing on the other employees, whatever. It's again, it's tricky trap as a thought that becomes behavior that takes us away from our goal. And so I give a tool in the book to help you start again.
Okay. On this topic, Barbara, who did you have in mind for when you wrote this book? Who did you go, okay, I'm writing this for this type of person or this person?
It's the business leader that thinks they have to do things that have maybe gotten caught up in we need structure and strategy over people. And they're finding themselves, a lot of employees leaving, people asking for, this hybrid work situation, and they don't know how to handle that. And it's frustrating, right? And then so burnout happens, and then our ability to start again, to understand these needs and desires of employees, it starts getting harder to do. And I think it's for these leaders who really can see their business in a little bit simpler way, and how they operate around the people versus structure and strategy, and just opening their eyes that we've gotten pretty complicated structure and strategy operating systems around structure and strategy. Have really, taken the people out of the process. And I'm saying bring the people back, and then they'll do the process. So it's those leaders who are struggling with those things.
Okay. And you mentioned having people kind of take pause and go to the spiritual. And you've included in your book, and I encourage everyone to get this, but you've included in it the prayer of Saint Francis, and which starts with, "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace, and where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light." And it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really valuable, Barbara, that you're telling people, wait, take a moment, take pause, let's and look at this and see how that impacts the decisions that you make within your corporate culture. I love it because it's also very bold of you, and I think that's fantastic that you've included that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that falls in the chapter understand first. And it's about understanding your people first and taking the time, and that's kind of what he's saying in the prayer. And I think that prayer was a prayer that I grew up with as a child, and it was certainly one that I drifted away from. I mean, this is ancient wisdom, right? And I just found out that I was born on the International Peace Day, September 21st. I was like, okay, I'm so glad I put that in my book.
My gosh, you have a birthday coming up next week.
I do, next week.
Wow. Hey, this is a book launch is a pretty good birthday way to celebrate a birthday. Fantastic. Now, also you have, and I think this is practice 5 in your book, you say ready, set, goal. Can you explain ready, set, goal?
Yeah. So, it's goal setting, right? So, you have to create goals, and they have to be goals that are written around, and I lead people through this process when I'm implementing this, but I lead people, and it's a famous process. I did not create this process. Many people know it, but it's the SWOT exercise. It's you kind of look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, and you create goals from that point. And so, it's hard to meet goals when you haven't made goals. sometimes it's like, well, it's my goal to do this, but when you don't create a plan to achieve that goal, and you haven't really looked deeply into the things that could get in your way, the opportunities that and things that can actually help you achieve this goal, you don't put a timeline around it. It's just necessary, and it's how we become profitable. It's how we become successful, even in our personal goals.
Now, Barbara, if people, I'd love for you to talk more about your organization and what you're doing for your clients now. Where do you step in and how do you help them?
So basically, we come in and we are helping people improve their culture, right? People that are obviously feeling like, okay, we need to do something about our culture. And then we kind of push them back. And so push them back to one of the simplest tools that most companies have that they're somewhat ignoring, and that is going back to their values. So we help organizations make every decision, solve every problem around living out the values to create great culture to meet goals. So we come in and we help claim your purpose and your why again. We help you claim your core values. If yours need to be refreshed, we do that work. We do a goal setting session. We get you to create a vision statement around thinking and dreaming big. And then we take it to the next level, and it's about living out the values. So we believe that you can run your whole organization on living out the values. So then we've created a few operating procedures and tools that help you actually not only, like I said, not only live out the values, but solve every problem and make every decision.
I think we might have lost her. Hang on.
Me?
Let's see. Well, if you'll hang tight with us just a second, we may have her back. And we'll see if we can get Barbara back in here. There we go. All right. Hey, we did have a temporary glitch.
That's life. Never stop starting.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm sorry we interrupted as you were talking about what you guys do going into an organization.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much you heard.
Yeah, it cut off, and I was scrambling here trying to get us back on.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. So what we do is we go into organizations and we help them live out their values. So like one of the first processes that we do is we go in and we help you claim your purpose and your why statement. We claim your core values. Some people have core values. I mean, most people do, but they're just living as a website, as a beautiful thing on their website or on a coffee mug, but they are not really sure how to live them out. So in this book, I uncover how to live out values. And so when we come in and after we do, your why, your purpose statement, your vision statement, you're claiming your core values, we do a goal setting session. And then we go to the next level, which is living out the values. And so we basically can apply every practice in the book to every core value, and it will allow you to make every decision and solve every problem to operate your business. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's living out values to operate your business.
Excellent. And Barbara, if people want to reach you or your organization, what's the best way to do that?
You can go to our website. It's the neverstopstartingcompany.com.
Oh, I love it. Neverstopstartingcompany.com.
Or you can also just look me up, Barbara Yokom, and you'll find the website that way too.
All right, and I'm putting it in the chat log. Except that I keep my fingers want to add spaces,
right,
in all the words.
Well, and you do kind of have to be careful because it could be Never Stop Staring, and that's not the title of the book.
Staring, yeah, that's not ideal, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Well, so the book is available today on Amazon, and you can pick up your copy. The Kindle is available at 99 cents as a special launch pricing, and the paperback is also available at a launch price temporarily. So please pick up a copy of this book, pick it up for other people that you know would really benefit from Barbara's lessons and looking at starting their culture again and to continue to build a crazy great culture. So please do that. All right. So, Barbara, we're wrapping up here, and let me take that off the screen. There we go. Wrapping up here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with people before we say goodbye? Any last lesson or a snippet from the book or anything along those lines?
Uh, no, I mean, I think it's, if I'm going to send out a message, it's that may you never stop starting, creating joy in your life and those lives around you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Barbara, for joining us. And it is great. I'm again so excited for you and your launch. Your book has turned out beautifully, and I'm glad it is out to the world finally after the work that you put in to see this happen. So, congratulations again.
Thank you.
All right. So you pick up your copy, of course, today. And then if there's a book in your future, if you've ever thought about putting a book out in the support of your business or brand or organization and understand what a book can do for you, please reach out. I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you about that. So on the behalf of all of us here at Ignite Press, thank you for joining us for this book launch livecast.